Hey everybody, it's Drew Sims here, back with another Sims 4 review. So in this video, I wanted to go over some of the ways that I make my game look better. And the main thing I'm going to be going over is Reshade. I utilize a lot of different Reshade presets. I've played around with quite a few and I've come up with some of my absolute favorites. But I do want to start with a quick disclaimer. So there was a different program called Gshade that was widely used fairly recently. So a lot of the presets that are out there and some of the ones that I really like are actually Gshade presets. Gshade presets are not automatically compatible with the Reshade application, unfortunately, and the Gshade application, as far as I know, has been completely removed because there was like something about it causing viruses. I'm not sure about the specific. There is a way to make Gshade presets compatible with Reshade, and I will be linking a really great tutorial down in the description below. Follow it step by step. It's actually quite easy. It's not terribly complicated, so you shouldn't have any issues. And yeah, then you'll be able to use all these fabulous Gshade presets while using the Reshade application. So just wanted to get that disclaimer out of the way. Let's jump into my favorite reshades. To access reshade settings in your game, you press the home button. I think that's the same for everybody. You can change it by going into settings, but this is how you're going to access all of your presets that you have installed. So when I first started looking into reshades that I wanted to use, Ellanora by ellcrze, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I saw somebody using it and I was like, I need to get Reshade working in my game because I want this. This is what Ellanora looks like. There are a few versions, so I think I even have a couple versions in my game. This is the one I really like, and I think it's the 2.0 one. But as you can see, it really ups the saturation of the game as well as deepens shadows. So like if you go here, you can see like everything underneath the water because of how the contrast and the shadows are a lot higher, and I really like it because of the depth it adds to your Sims and to objects. Like for example, I really like how it looks right here. I know it's like a weird thing, but just the shadows underneath the shelves and underneath the objects are just so much more pronounced, and I like that element. Let me just reload the preset because you'll be able to see like what the game looks like without any reshade as it's loading. It completely overhauls the look of the game. The landscape colors are just so vibrant, and I know in my game right now it's autumn, so that's like the perfect season in my opinion because you can see like how gorgeous the leaves and everything look. It's just so pretty. If you look out in the distance, you can see like the more pronounced shadows under the cars and all that stuff. So again, if you really like a higher saturation look as well as more contrast and more depth in your game, I highly recommend this preset. Another one by the same creator is Storybook. So this is another one where it really ups the saturation. I think it's a lot brighter than Ellanora, and it adds like a different vibe of lighting. Instead of deepening shadows, it almost makes the shadows like bright. I don't really know how to explain it. It kind of lives up to the name because it really does feel like this is in a storybook. But for example, where Ellanora, I think like underneath these objects would have darker shadows, it brightens it. That's what the vibe feels like to me. So it's kind of like the same higher saturation but the opposite effect in terms of contrast. Like even underneath the water where Ellanora was kind of darkening the objects, it's brightening them, so you can still see them but in a different way. Between Storybook and Ellanora, I think it just depends on what kind of aesthetic you like. I would say this one is a little bit brighter than Ellanora, so if you want a brighter preset, then this is probably the one to go for. But as you can see, my sim looks so pretty like with this reshade on, and it still does deepen the shadows. Underneath her chin you can see a little bit of it, but it's not as much as Ellanora. Next, I want to go over Strudel by Elaina. So to me, strudel is really similar to ellanora because I think that it has a very similar effect in terms of darkening the shadows. I think it's less saturated as well. It's almost a more muted tone. If we look around the landscape again, we can see like the deepened contrast and all that stuff, but it also looks very, it's not dull, it's just muted. For me, I personally don't have a problem with. I actually really like the look of this preset. It was my main preset in game until literally like 2 days ago. But if you're looking for the shadows with a high saturation, this is not the preset for you because it doesn't really do that. I still think this preset is gorgeous. The vibe it adds to the game is almost like sleepy. And I mean that as a good thing. It's just a very calm and relaxed vibe, I guess, is what I'm going for. And I really enjoy that. So again, if you're looking for a high contrast preset that's gonna really deepen the shadows in your game, but also like not one that's gonna up the saturation really high, then this is probably the one for you. My last and latest favorite that I wanna go over in this video is called Rose Milk Tea by Malixa. And this is my new favorite. So like I just switched over from strudel to this one. I'm gonna have her come outside so we can get the proper lighting, but this is definitely a brightening preset. It's very different from strudel and it doesn't deepen the shadows as much as the other presets. Like if we come over to the rocks and stuff, like in strudel, these are a lot more pronounced. And then if we go back to Rose Milk Tea, they're pronounced. Like you can see them more than you can with no preset. It's definitely not the same. And why I really like it is because of how bright it is. I think it makes your Sims just look so freaking pretty. Like I just think the Sims all look so gorgeous with this preset on, and it just like, it makes me feel happy when I play the game. I don't even know how to explain it. Like everything is just so much brighter. What I also really like about it is that you can turn on this blur background, this one, and it's really good for taking screenshots. A lot of the presets have this. If you look specifically for the DOF shaders, and you can play around with those, like even strudel has one. Like if we do cinematic DOF with strudel, we kind of get a similar effect. It's not the exact same, but it's definitely similar. I think the brightness of this preset lends itself really well to really pretty screenshots, and then with the depth shader added, it's just like, it's so good. Like I love it so much. So those are my 4 current favorite shaders. Like I said, a few of them are a G shade. Make sure to check the tutorial I have linked down below so that you can actually get those presets working in your game. I thought it'd be fun to throw in a few presets that I personally don't use that much, but I just think they're so cool. So these are by Moonivys. They're called Lotties and Planet. It's just so cool. Like again, it's personally not really my style because it's just like, it's so like comic-y and I personally don't play that way, but I still think it's so cool. The way it outlines all the objects, the way the colors are all changed. Oh my god, it literally looks like a graphic novel over there. That is by Moonivys. This is the Lottie's preset. And then the Planets preset, I think might be the one that's specific for cast or specific for screenshots or something. I'll have them both linked down below so you can read the creator notes and like what they're meant to be used for. It looks like the Planets one is less outliney. Like you can still kind of see really faint outlines, but it's less like harsh with them. If you like the look but don't like the outlines, this might be the one for you. Those are just 2 like fun ones that I wanted to touch on. I also want to note that I do have a lighting mod in my game. It's called Milk Thistle. Again, I will have it linked down below, and basically what it does, it adds a lot in terms of landscape. So you get really bright and vivid sunrises and sunsets, really saturated lighting at night so that you get really pretty like moonlight vibe. I think you also get less shadows during the day. They're not as saturated. Again, definitely read up on that mod. This mod is more involved to install. You're literally replacing game files with the files of the lighting mod. So be really careful with when you're installing it. The creator has really good instructions. So just be careful because if you delete certain folders, you might break your game. I think it adds a different dimension addition to the reshades I have in my game, which I really like. I know that some of the creators of the reshade presets actually specifically note like, hey, I have these lighting mods in my game, and one of them had milk thistle, and that's why I even found it and installed it in the first place. Definitely be wary of that when you're looking at the pictures of the reshades as well. Like some of them you can only get that exact look if you install all the lighting mods and like do everything that the creators do with their settings. So if your game doesn't look exactly like the screenshots, it's okay. Like you can probably play around with it and still get it to look the way you want it to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, because sometimes when I'm looking for a new reshade or g-shade preset, it's really difficult to find one that I think vibes with my personal style, and I try to include like a good mix of different styles here for you guys. So I hope you guys can find a preset that works for you and for your game and your aesthetic. Definitely comment down below what your favorite preset was, or any thoughts or opinions you have. As always, I read all my comments and I love it when you guys comment, so please do. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel, and I'd love for you guys to stick around, and I will see you later. Bye guys.